Welcome to another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast. Hey, before we begin, I notice a lot of you guys watch and download and view the content here, but you're not subscribed. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's what helps us continue to be able to produce this content. And as always, these podcasts are brought to you by Gunfighter Gun Oil. That's the new grease. Pretty sweet. We've got a very interesting guest today. His name is Jarrel Cappell. And Jarrel has a good story about average guy like most of us going about his day and being met with some crazy violence and having to fight for his life. Ultimately ending with him being shot and him having to shoot somebody. Made national news, and I think it's going to be a good story for all of us, for us to learn some lessons. Hey, man, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Mick. How you doing?
I'm doing really good, actually. Have you done any other discussions like this?
No, this was actually the first.
Ah, cool. And this, just for the folks listening, you are in Philadelphia area, correct?
Yes, Philadelphia.
And you were involved in this scenario about a year ago? Was it a year and a half ago, something like that?
About a year and a month now.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we should just, tell the story, and then we can kind of get into talking a little bit more about, what we can learn from it. How about that?
Yeah, no problem. I bet you don't mind if I mention, where I worked at. That's fine.
You can say whatever you feel that is relevant and want to talk about.
Okay, cool. Well, I know a lot of people probably seen this article or seen it on the news. I was the FedEx driver that was involved in a robbery shooting, in which I defended myself. This is December 17th, 2019.
Okay.
And that was me. I was typical day at work in the holiday season, very busy. I was doing my deliveries. So I stopped at this one house. Took maybe about, I would have to say 30 seconds from the time I ran from my truck to the person's door to deliver that package. Knocked on the door, left the package. The minute I turned around, I was greeted by somebody at gunpoint who proceeded to rob me. So
greeted's an interesting word because usually that's like a nice thing.
Yeah, nice thing. Yeah. Well, it wasn't greeted. It was more what would you say, accosted? Yeah, I was accosted by him.
There you go.
Yeah, he walked in. He racked his gun back. I mean, that put me in the state of mind like, okay, this guy means business. Told me he wanted everything I had on me. And that's a common misconception people have also with the incident. I think a lot of people tend to think that he was trying to rob the truck, but he actually walked into somebody else's property, a gated property, and approached me. So I gave him my wallet, keys, money. He then tells me he wants me to come outside that gate onto a sidewalk, which happened to be on a dark block. So
what time of day was this at again?
This is like right around 7:00
PM.
PM.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
PM.
so the winter time in the north, like where we live, it's pitch black other than street lights and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And here in Philly, I'm originally from New York, and New York is well lit. Philly, it's tend to be a lot of blocks where the street lights are only on one side. So a lot of the blocks are very dark. So once he told me that, it was I was not trying to go out there. There's a lot of things going through my mind. I could swear my life was flashing before me. The very next day was my oldest child, my daughter, was going to be her birthday. And I'm just thinking in my mind, like, I'm trying to be around. I'm trying to go home.
Sure.
So I hesitated, took my time, because my saving grace, I think, also was the fact that he turned his back on me and walked outside first. So I hesitated, took my time, walking to that gate, and which gave me the opportunity.
You said outside. You guys were outside, but you were in somebody's like gated back front yard area, right?
Yeah, the front yard. Yep.
Okay.
So I was walking towards the sidewalk now. Um, it dawned on me earlier when I went for my wallet. My hand brushed against my firearm, but I'm from watching tons of videos. I'm here like that's not a smart thing to do when a gun is drawn on you. So
Where do you carry?
typically I carry appendix, but being that I was at work is a lot more comfortable. I carry 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So I brushed past it. I said, nah, not right now. When he turned his back on me, it gave me the opportunity to deploy my firearm. And I want to say at that point I wasn't carrying with a bullet in the chamber, but I had the chance to rack my gun, and I kept it on my side.
He didn't hear your slide rack, or you said he had his back to you, but he didn't hear the gun get drawn or hear the slide rack and spin around.
I imagine he didn't, and to this day, like, because it plays in my mind. I'm like, did he not hear that? So it plays in my mind if he heard it or not. He when I got to the gate, he was facing me. He then proceeds to raise his gun again and tells me to come outside the gate. So when I saw his gun being raised, I started to slowly raise mine and started feeling that burning sensation in my stomach, and that's when I knew I was shot. So
you're just listening to him talking to you, and you felt a burning sensation. You didn't see a gun go off. You didn't see him pull the trigger. You didn't hear a gun go off.
I didn't hear it. I didn't see any flashes. I guess by then, because my adrenaline was already going. Through this year, I've been sitting out. We talk a lot about fight or flight, but then we forget about the freezing part, fight, flight, or freeze. Think the first thing that came into my mind was when I got robbed, I kind of froze. Then with the adrenaline going, I didn't hear any shots. I just felt it. I knew I was hit. Mm-hmm. Then I started returning fire while shooting, and my mind is processing that burning sensation. I'm here like I got to control my breathing, because the first thing that came to mind is that I'm hit. I'm probably bleeding profusely. Let me control my breathing and slow my heart rate down to stop or slow down this breathing. So once I got my breath under control, I think that brought everything back into perspective. What it felt like it was forever. But
let's go back a sec. So do you think he saw your gun? Is that why you think he shot? I mean, I'm not going to try to ascertain why he committed a violent act, but do you think he saw the gun at your side?
Could have been, because some of the questions you asking is the same questions I actually that go through my mind, and it's like, you got the money, the wallet, why take it to the next level?
Yeah.
So
do you think you could have, looking back, just taken off running? Like you were in a front yard, was there somewhere to go?
Well, actually, that was one of my first things that I wanted to do, but from the gate to where he was at was maybe a few yards. So, and my truck was directly in front of me, a little bit up to the right.
And this is one of the big FedEx box trucks that are like 30 feet long that we all see every day.
Yep, one of those. And what dawned on me is that if I run, possibly I'm probably gonna get shot in the back. So I guess my initial response and now is from the freezing, now is into fight. So it was like I wanted to keep my eye on him. So that's probably where like I said, that's why I got shot in the front, through my stomach, came out my back.
The bullet was through and through. It entered and exited.
Yeah.
Did he fire more than one round?
Yeah. Apparently from the investigation, they said it was a total of 9 cartridges recovered. 6 of which were mine, because they found 6 projectiles inside of him, and the other 3 had to be from him. He only hit me once.
Do you remember firing 6?
No, I don't. Actually, I don't. That's one of the questions when I got greeted by the cops, they asked, how many shots did you fire? And I'm here like, I don't know. What I can tell you is that I had 12 bullets in here, and whatever's left, that's what I fired.
Let's pause and we'll come back to that, Jarrel.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any training? I know you have a CCW in the state
Mm-hmm.
of Pennsylvania, so that requires nothing, right? You go to your
Nothing.
police or sheriff's office and just apply and pay a fee.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I'm not saying either way whether that's right or wrong. I just am thinking about what training you may have had. Have you had any formal training before that day?
Just my range time, and I actually I'm a subscriber to your channel.
Cool.
I watch a lot of your S12 videos, so a lot of times as I'm watching your videos, I'm in my basement. Sometimes I have a target on the wall, dry firing, practicing, working on my grip and that muscle memory as far as like, bringing it up to that eye and getting a sight picture, which can't really, it's so blurry in my mind that I do remember seeing the muzzle of the gun, but I can't remember if I did pick up my sights, but I knew I was on him because he was about maybe 5 to 7 yards from me.
Okay.
So he
I was
was in
about to
that,
ask that.
yeah, he was in that distance. So
What time? This was December. So did he have a winter jacket on?
no, he just had an all gray sweatsuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just one or two thin layers, nothing thick.
Yeah, nothing
And
too thick.
you had told me you were carrying a Taurus G2C with HST 9mm.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Yes, true.
And each of those rounds at that distance, I believe you told me all of them were recovered from the attacker.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That was one of
And the
my main
reason,
concerns.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was one of my main concerns, in a self-defense incident. You want to hit your target, and you don't want to hit nobody innocent, have any property damage, but I guess property damage is the least of anybody's worries, more so life over anything. So I
Do you
was
remember if you thought about any of that in that split second?
um in that split second, nah, because it was just fighting for my life. And I knew like now I'm like I knew that that training, as I could have trained a lot more, but I felt confident in the work that I did, that it paid off at that point in time. So I was on point. I do know maybe hours later when I was at the hospital, they didn't mention nothing because cops came. They didn't mention nothing about anybody else being hurt or hit. So in that moment, in that day, it really didn't dawn on me. As a matter of fact, the minute I was able to get to my truck, he almost didn't even exist no more. It was just about getting myself to safety.
So you also didn't know that he had an accomplice with him.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So you put six rounds into him, and he was able to move and get to his vehicle, right?
Yes.
The reason I want to talk about that is a lot of times people assume, just like the movies, that if we're shot, we're done and die. You were shot, the round went through your bowels, hit your spine, fractured your spine, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Outside of my
And
spine.
you were still up and mobile,
Yes, because
and you're still alive and
still alive and walking.
we're not
That's
talking
one
to
of
a
the questions.
ghost.
Exactly. One of the questions the detective asked me when he interviewed me was, did I hit the floor because there was a bunch of change on the ground? So I'm guessing that came from when I reached in my pockets to get pull out my keys and stuff. And I'm like,
Okay,
no, I
stuff
didn't hit the
fell
floor.
out.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
in that moment you hit, it's survival. So it was like I stood my ground. One of the things that also from, like I said, from the training, I know a lot of times on the range we practice, being square to the target, and then also with the with your stance. I was in pretty much a fighting stance, so I was bladed towards him, which is why I believe the bullet passed diagonally through me the way it did, and possibly why he missed the other two rounds on me. I was less of a target, but he was square to me, so that's why I was able to, I think, put all rounds on him.
lucky guy, as you know, no major blood vessels or your spinal cord wasn't hit, because you'd be a goner or paralyzed. That's
Yeah,
very fortunate. How long were you in the hospital for?
2 weeks.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oops. And now you're mobile. You still have some issues, but I think you said for the most part you're in pretty good health.
Yeah, I'm in pretty good health. Every so often, still go to therapy for my back. Yes, Wednesday. I'm guessing I had a muscle spasm in my back. I was in pain for like 2 days. Still in pain today, but it's subsiding.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll take that any day over being dead.
Yeah, heck yeah. I know I asked you when we spoke before, and I don't think you knew. We're assuming that the projectile you were hit with was just ball ammo.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's the first thing I thought. I'm like, if it passed in and out, it probably was a ball ammo.
And there was not a lot of damage.
Yeah, not that much. Just my like I said, it hit my intestine. They did a bowel resection. Yeah, that was about it. It
So
didn't
for
bounce
the
to him.
listeners, they basically just chopped out the section that had a hole in it and reconnected you, right?
Uh-huh.
So now after that, digestion and all that's normal.
Yeah, it took about maybe 2 months to get back to normal. In 2 months, I couldn't eat even half of what I used to eat, maybe a quarter of that, and I would get full real fast.
Did you lose a
I
bunch of weight?
I came home because I'm 5'4", 100, and I was 185. I've been 185 since I finished high school. But I'm stocky, so I came out the hospital, came home, I was 155.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Hospital food sucks too.
Well, I actually didn't eat till I was on a feeding tube up until because I left exactly 2 weeks later. So that was a Tuesday. I probably had my first solid meal maybe the Saturday night prior to maybe 2.5 days. When I first had my first solid meal, it was just everything was liquid at that point.
Okay. All right. One of the things that we hear, there's a lot of things repeated in the armed citizen community that are often repeated as facts, such as if you're involved in a self-defense shooting, you're going to lose your gun, you're going to lose your rights, you're going to be arrested, you're going to be charged with a crime, you're going to need an attorney to protect yourself. Talk about that. What was the aftermath of the shooting?
The aftermath, so when when they got to the hospital, I was intubated the night of the 17th, I think around 9 p.m. And I woke up December 19th around the afternoon. So my wife was there. She told me I already had an attorney. And by then she told me everybody that came to the hospital, but spoke to my attorney. One thing that we realized, I guess, due to the circumstances of, you could say, my job and what I was doing, one of the things I heard from the investigation is that they seen the person had a camera at their door, so they one of those I guess
Like
doorbell cameras.
rings. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it picked up when I delivered the package, but it kind of cut off when the action started. But so they knew I was there. They knew I was at work in my truck. They found my ID on him, so they knew it was robbery. But I didn't face any legal action. The detectives gave me a chance to go home. They came to my house, interviewed me. More so about what happened that night. My
Was your
attorney,
firearm confiscated?
yeah, they took that right before I got into the because I didn't get to an ambulance. They drove me in a police car to the hospital, so they took that off of me when I before I got into the cop car.
Let's
And
pause and we'll come back to that. So you get shot.
yeah,
Bad guy runs to his getaway car and he's taken to the hospital. His partner took him to the hospital.
no, actually, his partner took him to an alley, and
And dumped him.
That's what I was hearing at first, but
Wow.
I heard
Cold.
when they found him, he was actually, I guess, holding his partner, you know, crying, saying, you know, "Don't die on me." So I think he was there with him. I think he did dump the gun allegedly. I'm gonna say allegedly because say he dumped the gun, parked the car, and he was in the alley with his buddy. That's where they found him. I'm unsure of how the phone call came about of where they were. They said he was by maybe a mile and a half to 2 miles from where the incident happened, where they found him at. And he was actually brought to the hospital, I guess, by the paramedics. And
So then how about you? Did you reholster your firearm? What was going through your head? You're shot, dude runs away, you feel your guts on fire. How'd that go for you? Did you reholster? Did you
two
reload?
words, two words, muscle memory. Woke up in the hospital days later. I'm here playing through the process in my mind. I'm saying, how did my gun get to the holster? Because when I said when they got to me, they asked about my firearm. I said it's on my waist, and I'm not paying that no mind at the time. But you know, later on, it's like, okay, I guess it was just automatic. The minute he took away, I'm getting away. Just went right back to the holster, which is one of the things, you know, in practice, you know, knowing where your holster's at. And I practice and train on that appendix or 4 o'clock. I know how to
Mm-hmm.
get to my holster without seeing it. So as I'm running to the truck, I guess I reholstered it, and that's when I took off. But I reholstered it. At that point, I only had one magazine on me, so I didn't reload. Um, and they confiscated it.
Did you get it back?
Um, they're just wrapping up the case on part of the accomplice. So I spoke to the DA, called me and told me I will be getting that back. So I'm just waiting on that.
Okay. So you reholster, you're in trouble. You made your way back to the truck and you drove away. You wanted to kind of get away from the area, but knew that you needed to call and get help.
Yeah. That's another thing from like I said, from a lot of the stuff that I was watching online. Like I said, I told you I started breathing properly.
Where'd you pick
Cool.
that up?
Um, I seen some of the S12 videos when they did the medical training. Um, I spent a lot of time on YouTube, different different things. Breathing. I forget where exactly I picked that up, but I know it's important to breathe. I forgot who I got that from,
Mm-hmm.
but
So you're trying to slow your breath down, slow your heart rate down.
yeah.
Okay. Did you
And
apply any aid to yourself? Did you have any medical equipment in the car? Do you have any training to apply self aid to yourself?
I've like I said, I've seen some of the videos. I was actually in the process prior to the incident of ordering me a medical kit. I seen
Mm-hmm.
one of the YouTubers. Is it John Lavelle? Is it Lavelle?
Maybe.
I can't, not sure. With the ankle medical kits. I wanted to get one of those. It's kind of like said, it's a self-defense is a lifestyle. So it's like once I know I grew into it. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I need to learn medical. I need to know if I'm hitting an arm, how to put a tourniquet on. So I have a general idea how to do it. I was trying to, you know, attain some of the chest seals,
Mm-hmm.
but at that given time, I didn't have none of that on me. At best, I was layered up, and I had my back brace on to help me as I'm lifting, and I had to take that off when the cops arrived on the scene. He couldn't see where I was bleeding from. So once I put it back on, I actually applied it on real tight to keep it compressed. But that was about the most medical I gave myself, just putting that back brace on
Mm-hmm.
tighter.
Okay. Not a lot of blood, a lot of blood.
Um, no, I don't think it was on a lot of blood. On my
Okay.
clothes maybe, but in the truck no.
Okay. So you drove away a little bit, called 911, told them where you were. They came and found you, scooped you up, took you to the hospital.
Yes.
Did you call your wife or did somebody else?
Actually, I texted her as I was in the trying.
Back from our phone pause. So you texted your wife, you were saying.
Yeah, I texted her. At that point, it was a lot going through
What'd you
my mind.
text her? What'd you tell her?
It was so vague. I
Hey,
think
I'm in the back of a squad car or I'm in the back of an ambulance.
no, I didn't text that much. I text her in my mom thinking I text I've been shot, but only two words typed in been shot. So she tells me she gets the text and she's like, what's going on? So I believe she called me, and when she called, I was in the process of trying to figure out which hospital they was taking me to because the area I was in, there was a hospital maybe 3-4 minutes away, but they took me the opposite way, which now I find out is because that one that I went to was a trauma center.
I see.
So that was like maybe more like somewhere around 10 minutes away. So once I seen one of these street signs, one of these avenues, I said, okay, I think I'm going to Einstein Hospital. So the cop heard me. He said, yeah, you're going to Einstein. So I told her where I was going. She then calls my mom and tells my mom what's going on. And I think right before I text her, I text my boss and I think I told him, your truck is at Acme. I've been shot. So he texted me later, but at that point, I didn't even see it. I was on the phone with her and
That's
I
pretty
was in
cool that you had the presence of mind to look out for the good packages of the people.
yeah, I know.
Maybe that took your
Things,
mind off of what was going on a little bit too, maybe.
well, I think I'm the type of person to try to cover all my bases, which is why as I'm running to my truck after he parted ways, I thinking in my mind, oh shoot, got to get medical, but also like we was mentioning earlier, like they say one of the things that came across is that you're leaving the scene of a crime. So
Yeah.
I'm here like I gotta let the cops know, 911 know what happened, where it happened at. So I'm actually trying to attain the 911 recording from that night because the detective told me I was so calm on that 911 call that I actually want I want to have it because as I follow your training group.
Did you file a FOIA request to get it? They have to give
Um
it to you.
I haven't yet because I was actually just looking up the process, and
Oh,
my lawyer told me I can ask the DA since they should have it if
yeah.
they'll give it to me. So I'm waiting on a response from them. But I want to use that as a for training. Like I know it's easier said than done, but trying to remain calm. I've seen a lot of situations. You watch sometimes it happens in movies. Sometimes you listen to actual 911 calls, and people are so hysterical that the operator's asking you 10,000 questions, and it makes you as the listener, sometimes mad. Like you asking this person that many questions, and they're afraid for their life. So
Yeah.
I took it upon myself when I answered the phone. I believe I'm try to get back, try to word it. I know I called, gave him my name, told him I worked for FedEx, told him I was robbed and shot, told him the address, told him I'm driving to the Acme parking lot around the corner. I gave him the address and I told him, I returned fire because I know they tell you usually don't say nothing about it, but I said, I returned fire.
Who tells you that? I mean, that's pretty
Um,
pertinent information.
I've heard a lot of videos, they say,
Anybody that says that kind of stuff's a dumbass. Why would you not tell the police that you just were involved in a shooting and shot somebody?
was, yeah. And as I watch those videos, you see how it played out in real life. I let them know, I'm like, I shot somebody. It's not like I slapped somebody or punched somebody in the face because they attacked me. No, I shot somebody. So it's
And the difference is also the context. You didn't call 911 and say, hey, I got angry and shot somebody in a road rage situation. You said I was robbed and shot and I returned fire protecting myself.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, context.
Yep. So like I said, all that, like we speak about, man, you train people too, is you get into a lifestyle and understanding, like, this is how you should, move about, understand certain things. Like I said, one of the important things is, like I said, I think controlling my breathing is what got me to that point of, clarity. Okay, I'm running this way to the truck. I'm driving to the parking lot. I'm letting 911 know in a calm way what's going on and what just happened, and where I'm at. So I think that helped me out not only in surviving, but it helped me out legally too. Because like I said, it was no charges up against me. I was even told by the DA and the detectives that everything I did that night was pretty much textbook in his opinion.
Good. Did you have headphones or earbuds or anything in when you were delivering packages, when you were working?
I usually,
like, do you listen to, but did you that day?
that in the daytime usually, but that time of night, usually around 7 o'clock, I'm in a zone where in the next hour I'm getting done no matter what. So I usually keep one earbud in my ear in case I get a phone call, but I never have both my ears covered. But I did have it in.
So these people were probably following you house to house and thought, okay, here's a good spot to jump you, right? So looking back, what could you have done different to not have this dude come up behind you in the dark?
This point is, as much as the job has its own nature, I think safety is always first. You come off the truck, you look around your surroundings, and then you proceed to the house. Now, I've also worked for a pizza company delivering pizza. Usually with that, in some of the neighborhoods, especially particularly North Philadelphia, you pull up, you're looking around because drivers get robbed all the time. But with FedEx, it's almost like, okay, you got 200 plus stops a day and you're trying to get done. So it's like you become that time of day, I'm like a robot. I'm just up, stop, back to the truck, go.
Yeah.
So it did lapse. Exactly the week prior to me being robbed, I had delivered a TV to somebody's house and it was left on the porch. And I sat it in a way where the bottom panel was showing that you couldn't see that it was a TV. 10 minutes later, somebody steals it because they posted it on the Ring community app. And
the homeowner did?
Yeah, the homeowner did. And from that day, what I was doing started off good in the morning. I was watching my mirrors. I was checking the back of my truck every time I came off. But like I said, it's like wanting to be done at a certain time is like towards the afternoon, you kind of forget about, checking if somebody's following you or not. And like you said, it's in my mind, probably what would bring some closure is to know, okay, did you guys follow me, or did you just happen to be waiting in that corner and seeing my truck? I mean, one seems more real than the other one. I think they was following me, obviously. But like I said, it's pretty much just remembering that you're the most important thing and getting home to your family. So the most important delivery is you. So take that time to check behind you and make sure that ain't nobody following you, and then the coast is clear.
That's good sense.
Yeah.
Any kind of lingering issues? Sleep okay? You trust issues? Anything like that? Do you have any fallout from this?
I sleep good.
Good.
I am afraid of the dark. Not in that sense, but in the sense of how he approached me.
Mm-hmm.
Scene out of a Batman movie. You turn around and Batman's just standing there.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like to me. So I try my best to be inside before the sun is down.
This is just after this came about. You weren't always this way after the
after the incident. Yeah. So it's like when sun goes down and I go to my mom's house or I'm coming home from the market or picking up my baby from daycare, I tend to I have a system in place now where I survey my block as I'm turning onto it and pulling up just to make sure ain't nobody just standing around.
Good.
The block I live on is you can spot when somebody does not belong there. I could tell when a random car is there. So that's one thing I'm observing about, and try my best the minute, even when I come onto the block, as I park my car, I do a 360 in my mirrors. And then when I step out the car, it's a 360 with my eyes as far as like looking around my vehicle. And then I try my best to get to that door, as quick as possible without any hesitation, just so I can get inside and feel safe. But that has been getting better, but at the same time, for what it's worth, I don't think I would take that back. That's just taking my safety paramount.
Yeah, I like that. Do you carry with one in the chamber now?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you ever, before this happened, have family or loved ones that knew that you carried that was against the idea?
My mom.
Yeah, I'm sure it had to be pretty horrible. And we didn't talk about this. Something I thought about, because I have a lot of clients that come to us privately because they don't want family to know that they are being trained or learning to protect themselves, because it goes against like their family's traditions or culture. Talk about that a little bit with mom.
Oh, mom, yeah. When she found out I was carrying, she just didn't see the reason for it. Couldn't understand it, but it did influence my younger brother. He's 10 years younger than me, to get him. He got his license to carry also, and he carries. But the thing with my mom is that hit a little bit deep for me, because one of the things that I've always said is that, would you rather see me on the news dead, or would you rather see me in the news for protecting myself? And not the dead part, but being shot. I mean, the way the world works, I was on the news for both of those things in the same night. I was shot, but also defending myself. So since that, she has, nothing, nothing to say about it. She's actually happy I had my gun on me that night, and I was able to protect myself.
So you guys talked about it?
Yeah. And
good.
So I'm in the process of I became a certified instructor last year through the NRA program. She
cool.
She has my back on that too. She understands.
Very good. Very good. I like that. Does the family now, they come to you? You're the gun guy, the guy that they got questions or yeah. So did you get yourself
neighbors?
Yeah. So you went and got yourself another of the same pistol, or did you get something different?
Actually, the first gun I ever bought was a Ruger SR40C. So I went back to carrying that until I was able to, once I fully recovered, as far as my incision goes, and I purchased the G3C now, and I know I'll be getting back to G2C also, but I know it's a good gun, and it's one of the things I used to have issue with sometimes the way people would down other manufacturers. But once I went through that, and you learn that, reliability is something you want to count on when it's most needed. Like I said, I own a Ruger, I have a CZ, I have a couple Tauruses. But my philosophy behind the Taurus is, if I can find something that's in a good price range, that's reliable, then it's easy to swallow that pill. God forbid you ever have to use it, you can go out there and buy another one.
Yeah. And you probably didn't see our video where I end up tossing my G2C in the garbage because it would only fire about 50% of the time.
Was that? I seen the first video you had with it. Did you have make
Yeah.
a second one?
I don't remember. I mean, I only bought that thing and made a video because people kept asking it. It was unfortunate that the one that I bought, and it wasn't a gift, I paid for it, was a piece of junk. It made a lot of people very angry. But like, you don't know what you're doing. I just bought a piece of shit gun that didn't work right. You know, you pull the trigger, it doesn't go boom. That's a bad thing. So I'm glad that you did not have that one.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So
fired mine prior to, well, I mean, I would advise anybody, anything you're carrying, to shoot it at the range. Don't just, carry it on you and just hopes that one day that you need it, that you won't find out that you bought a dud, maybe. Shoot that gun.
Yeah, for sure. That's good. That makes good sense. So I think it's fantastic that you took the time to tell the story. I think there's a lot of good lessons in there for all of us. The what if stuff that people like to talk about, I call it a tactical circle jerk. What if you had done this? What if you did that? Just as a friend, as an instructor, I could look at this and say, well, the only thing you could have done different was trained more prior, right? Because you were watching YouTube videos and training on your own. But other than that, a good friend of mine, Tim Grammons, who's been on this podcast, a police officer that was involved in a gunfight, people criticize him and he says, I won. That's like the way he follows up with it. I won. And my buddy Jared Reston, who's many people know his story, Jared says, you can do your job, but it still takes a lot of luck. And you did your job, and it's really great you didn't get shot in the face or in the chest or something like that. So you got lucky, but you did your part. So that's fantastic. You ever think about soft armor or something like that now?
Yeah, actually, just got some soft armor for Christmas. So
very cool.
I'm gonna be wearing that concealable. Did think about that because I'm here like, man, I do not want another bullet to go through me.
Are you going to go back to work and do the same thing?
Probably not. I'm trying to do venture on to do my own thing now.
Okay.
Try to have a little bit more time with the family. That's one thing I gained from this experience. Being home was more time with my kids. I spent a lot of times. I leave out in the morning, drop my kids to school, and time I come back home at night, probably maybe have a half an hour with them. Sometimes maybe they're sleeping by the time I get home. So, like I said, it was an experience. One of the things, the reason I became an instructor was when I woke up in the hospital. I felt like this experience, not only does it need to be told, but I can use myself as a vessel to help other people with self-defense. I think a lot of people go out there and buy a gun and think that, okay, I got a gun now, I can defend myself. This for me started when I picked up my CCW license, and I noticed there was an elderly man carrying an air tank, and I was wondering, well, if something happened to you abruptly, how would you be able to deploy your gun? It was females that I noticed the way they were dressed. I was wondering, are you going to dress in a way that you'll be able to get to your gun? If your gun is in your bag and somebody snatches your bag, then what happens? So from that point on, it just became like a learning.
Stop it with this common sense, pal.
Yeah.
I said, stop it with the common sense.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. It's like, I think people just think that. Second thing is, because you have a gun on you, you're Superman or you can be a hero. Listen, it's okay to be robbed. You can get that money back, but if you don't have the opportunity to defend your life and you won't get shot, then just let it go. Now, if it presents itself and you feel like your life is absolutely in danger, then you're going to do what you have to do. But some people do have the mentality of, if I'm carrying, then, I'm going to stop him. You might pull out your gun and get shot first. And then who knows, you could have made it home because he probably wasn't going to shoot you, but now you're also a threat to his life once he's seen you pull that gun out. So it can go south. So it's like just teaching people, like, listen, you don't have to be the hero. I just to mention, in the hospital, when I came home, I still hear it to this day, the H word, hero, or you're a hero, or you're my hero. And I'm asking, like, how am I a hero? All I did was try to get home to my family. But as time passes on, I realized that this story, it means something to a lot of people, that the good guy protected himself. All too often in the Second Amendment community, they don't put us in the news. And due to the circumstances, I think because I was a FedEx driver, it made the headlines and it showed people, and it gave a story for us to say the Second Amendment works. You can protect yourself. Like, this stuff actually happens, because they never give you the numbers where we defend ourselves every year. They talk about gun violence, but they include self-defense and gun violence. That's, to me, not gun violence. That's self-protection. So I felt like, that was a good thing for us. And then, the thing with the word hero, I'm kind of like understanding it more, what it means to people. Hospital staff told me all too often they're stuck taking care of criminals and the victim passed away. They said to me, it's a good thing once in a while to have the good guy survive, and you taking care of the good guy as opposed to the person that inflicted harm on somebody else.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
it's good stuff, man. I like the way that you articulate the story. I've talked to other people that have been in similar scenarios, and I can tell that they're like fluffing it up. It's a shitty thing. I'm sorry for the family of the criminal that tried to take your life. It's horrible for them, because they lost a brother or a son or an uncle, nephew, husband. But he made his choice, and I do think, as you said, our laws were drafted to protect us from predators, from tyrannical government, and from any violence that would try to cut our life short. So good on you. What would you leave the listeners with?
Just take the time. If you decide to get into self-defense, then from my understanding, that from my point of view, your self-defense is in your hands. It's a right. It's a decision. It becomes a choice. Self-defense is knowledge, is the action of buying yourself some personal OC spray, a knife, a firearm. It's a mindset that every day you're going to go out here and carry yourself in a way where you can either avoid conflict, but if your back's to the wall, then you know what you're doing. It's training, that muscle memory that can kick in to help save your life. It's a responsibility. It's a responsibility for you to know when to act, when to not act, to make it home to your loved ones. And it's a responsibility to make sure you know and you're able to put those rounds where they need to be, whereas you're not causing damage to nothing else. That's one of the things that is off my shoulder, that I know I didn't hurt anybody innocent. I mean, like you said, I felt bad for the family. I prayed for the family, because like I said, somebody lost a brother, uncle, son, father, husband. Somebody lost somebody, and it was sad. But like you said, nobody told him to go out there and do that. That was his decision. But self-defense is it's a very heavy responsibility.
Well, you emulate the motto of my business, to be one's own cavalry. At that moment in time, we'd like to make little cute sayings like, when seconds count, cops are minutes away, etc. And you had fractions of seconds, and your choices won the day, so you can watch your kids grow old. And I love that. I appreciate you taking the time to share the story. I wish you success in whatever future endeavors you move on to.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you having me on your podcast to tell my story.
Of course. I'll maintain some contact with you. I'll be in Pennsylvania this summer. Maybe we get to hook up and have a beer or coffee or something together.
Yeah, we can do that. And I'll definitely I gotta see what your schedule for the S12 program, but I'm definitely taking one of those this year.
Cool. Well, we can talk about that offline. You guys that listened, as I told you when we started, if you enjoy this program, if you enjoy this channel, subscribe to it, share it. Stories like Jarrel's, I think, are very important for us to pass on, because oftentimes we get fixated on things that maybe aren't reality. That's reality. That kind of street violence happens every day, not just in America, but across the globe. And really simple things trained to a subconscious level can win the day and bring us home to our family. Mickey with CarryTrainer.com, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Higher Line Podcast. Be well. Don't be dickheads. Walk a higher line. You thought that was funny, huh? Visit our website, CarryTrainer.com, for information about classes held throughout the U.S., CarryTrainer apparel, and upcoming projects. You can also email us at training@CarryTrainer.com for information about setting up your own private course or speaking engagement. Training@CarryTrainer.com or CarryTrainer.com.
I said I got me some gunfighter gun law. Gunfighter gun law, baby. Gunfighter gun, oh, no more gunfighter blues. Made in the USA, amazing lubricity, 100% synthetic, baby. So it's gonna last you longer. So go on, CarryTrainer.com.